second point I want to talk about, which is really interesting, I would call consciousness. You want to be able to have the greatest amount of consciousness as you possibly can when you're in front of the audience. The definition of consciousness is to be awake and aware of your surroundings. When you watch an IT professional deliver a presentation, what I've noticed is that their consciousness is low, that they're not awake and aware of their surroundings. They are very much focused on the data, and they're not focused on the space. They're not focused on consciousness. They are totally absorbed by the data. And when you see somebody that's totally absorbed by the data, I call that they're in data land. They're not in this world. They're not in present time. They don't have a broadband connection to the space. They're in data land. And therefore, the quality of the delivery is low. Now, the trick is, how can you increase your consciousness in front of the room? If you have a low level of consciousness, which I call data land or being asleep, you have like a 56K connection to the space. As you become more conscious in front of the room, your consciousness goes from a 56K to a broadband connection to the audience. And now that you have a broadband connection to the audience, there are many, many valuable benefits of having a broadband connection to the audience. One benefit is that you're aware, you're awake. Along with that comes appropriate action, choosing the right action. What is the best way of interacting with the audience? When you are awake, you can see and you can choose and you can realize what the best way of interacting with the audience is. Another benefit that you have when you are awake and have a broadband connection and fully conscious, you're able to listen better. You can hear the audience better. You can hear what they're saying, and therefore your ability to respond is better. Now, when you want to look at lowering the consciousness, what it's like would be very dense, very tight down here. There's no flexibility, there's no openness, it's all data, data, data. And as you begin to relax, breathe, take a breath, pause, you become lighter and lighter and lighter in the space, and things become clear in the space, and you now have a broadband connection to the space. You now have elevated your consciousness, and now your ability to manifest your intention. So you have an intention inside of you. I'll use the tennis ball. You have an intention inside of you. You want to bring that intention up, that idea up, and you want to send it across the space to the audience. The more conscious you are, the greater your broadband connection is, the better you'll be at manifesting your intention, which is to have the audience understand what you're talking about, which is to move the sale forward, which is to increase your effectiveness. All these come from consciousness. Now, if you can increase your consciousness, you'll increase your power and your effectiveness as a presenter. So the next point I want to talk about is, what can you do in front of the audience that will increase your consciousness? And that's going to be point number 3.